Once, Carin felt like an alien, but Dr. Patch embraced her, as if picking the wrong script a big blunder. This sent Patch spiraling into a swamp of regrets, as over time, his relationship with Carin aged like fine wine, becoming the spice of their lives. Carin gradually trusted Patch, though her tragic childhood loomed like a black cat over her heart. Patch's presence made her believe love could conquer the magic of time. The next morning, Patch sat quietly at her bedside, watching her wake up like a dedicated couch potato. Just as the sweet moment was unfolding, Truman barged in like a loudspeaker, delivering the bad news there wasn't enough medicine. An elderly broke his arm but had no bandages, so her belt was used. Patch recalled the hospital's supply room and needed Truman to stage a show. He laid Truman on the bed, covered him with a sheet, dropped bandages accidentally, exposing the act to nurses. But the nurses played along. Meanwhile, Patch missed the chance to see Carin one last time, while she was home, anxiously waiting for a phone call. It was Ryder on the line, hoping Carin would come over for a chat. Though word had pulled something shady, Carin decided to pay him a visit anyway. Kindness immortalized her in Patch's memory. The next morning, Patch got a call from the hospital. Patch initially thought his secret plan was exposed. Though Truman knew the truth, he couldn't reveal it. Finally, the dean told him Carin was in trouble. Ryder shot her in the heart with a shotgun, and then took himself out. Patch's eyes instantly lost the spark. Guilt inside him made Patch question whether he was the cause of Carin's death. At the funeral, he hid behind a tree, afraid to approach, until the crowd left. Then he mustered courage to go to the casket and recite his long-prepared letter. So piqued and optimistic, Patch burst into tears, a real tearjerker. Patch's life felt like it was lost in an endless ocean, and in this extreme emptiness, he decided to quit the hospital, leaving Truman baffled. He was the first to suggest the idea, but also the first to throw in the towel. And to Truman, Patch's stubbornness seemed downright self-sabotaging. He had instilled new hope in those patients, only to ultimately cast them into the abyss of despair, and Patch was constantly tormented by self-reproach. If it weren't for him, Carin wouldn't have faced such misfortune. Patch tossed all his hospital memories into the trash, running into Mickey in the process. He told Patch a funny story of a grandma who loved making noodles but stopped eating, and so he too had to follow suit. He can't eat, he really can't eat, so he simply stops eating. What a persistent fellow. He really can't eat, absolutely cannot eat. 3 weeks passed. Mickey visited daily, naively believing medical skills could heal patients. He was wrong. Emotions were a disease that no cure could fix, except for Patch being the only one who could. Patch knew how to relate to people. All the patients adored him. Now, Mickey wanted him back to learn those very skills, but Patch was unmoved, leaving only his silhouette behind. He stood at the cliff's edge, fearing Carin would be lonely too. He prepared to follow Carin's footsteps. Just as he was about to jump, a colorful butterfly landed on his briefcase. He recalled Carin's words about wanting to become a butterfly, flitting through every corner of the world. Butterfly landed on Patch's clothes, and at that moment, he realized it represented Carin. She was telling him not to doubt love and kindness. He gazed poignantly, watching her soar higher and higher, his heart swelling with hope. At that moment, the unsteady helm of Patch's life returned to him. He went back to the hospital, aided by Truman, and the old lady was pushed outside. Before her noodle-made wonder, Mickey carried her in. He tossed some noodles onto Patch's head, and everyone around shared a heartfelt cheer for them. The world is blessed, leaves meet the wind, and everything will come to pass as it should. But just as happiness blooms, tragedy struck unexpectedly, with the principal handing him his expulsion notice. Subtitles. Furious, Patch sought out the dean to demand an explanation as to why. Ultimately, it boiled down to the fact that he had challenged authority and overlooked the dean's position. Patch took the folder, which stated the reason for his expulsion was overconfidence. He found Mickey, who advised appealing to the Monday Union, prompting the hospital to investigate and uncover his outstanding grades. This would halt the principal's attempt to expel him. Thus, Patch sued the hospital, with the judge accusing him of practicing medicine without a license. Before answering, the judge wanted to know how he defined treatment. The judge then asked Patch if he had ever treated a patient. Patch remained unflustered, replying matter-of-factly, "Doctors should equal patients. No profession ranks higher. Death isn't an error we need fear." Patch taught everyone present that communication is key to solutions, not hoping to save patients with textbooks. They should converse with fast as a human too. Patch aspired to be a doctor for himself, patients, and Carin. Even in the event that the lawsuit ended up being unsuccessful, he would still go on to become the very best doctor. There was no one who could halt his ongoing learning and progress. Being a target, he only dug deeper. Just then, Truman burst in, followed by children with leukemia and all those he had saved. Children carry rubber balls, their lives may be clownish yet as tough as wild grass. Gratitude swirled in their eyes as Patch felt new hope bubbling inside him. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe.